Hey there guys, Kamikaze Ikun here, and today I'm here to let you know for the last 3 days I've been playing 10 of the worst Super Nintendo games. Now, this is all obviously subject to opinion, but after you see this video, maybe I'll make a believer out of you too. So stick around and find out what I feel are the 10 worst Super Nintendo games. What's this? Huh, I wonder what's inside. Well guys, what do you say we open this package and find out what's inside? Oh boy! Super Nintendo games! Like Batman Returns! Oh wait, this isn't Batman Returns. This is Batman Forever. Oh wow, this is gonna be great!
Previously, I had made a video praising what I felt were the top 10 Super Nintendo games. If you have not yet seen that video, I advise you to stop now and follow the link in the description below. In this video, I made another top 10 of what I consider to be the worst games on the Super Nintendo. All of these games listed have flaws ranging from broken or senseless controls, bad hit detection, and games that are just downright boring. I will say that this is my list and is in no way the definitive list of bad Super Nintendo games. Please let me know in the comments below what games made it into your top 10. So sit back and enjoy watching what I consider to be the top 10 worst Super Nintendo games. Super Alfred Chicken, released on multiple platforms back in 1993 in Europe and 1994 in the US. You take on the role of Alfred, the chicken, and wander through some of the most random levels any human being could ever come up with. Graphically, this game is on the very low end, making certain titles on the NES look more impressive. As far as gameplay goes, at least the controls feel responsive, but only after a few minutes you'll see how boring and repetitive the game feels. Of these 10 games, this is the only one I felt that had there been more variety, this could have been a much better game. The Page Master. When the stigma of bad movie games comes up, this title always comes to mind. Released near Christmas 1994 to both American and European gamers, I would bet this game had ruined it to those unfortunate enough to receive a copy. You play as young Richard and explore some of the most boring levels to ever embrace the imagination. And for a game that is supposed to be about fantasy and adventure, this title makes a left turn without using the blinkers. The enemy placement is all over the place, and when it comes to movement, it feels like the floors are made of ice. The only thing I can praise on it is the sprite work, which is at least average at best. Rocko's Modern Life. Released exclusively to American audiences in 1994, this should already paint a picture of what's to come. The game is a result of what happens when an escort mission becomes the entire game. You control Rocko, and you are tasked with making sure your dog Spunky gets from point A to B. Coupled with an abundance of enemies and piss-poor hit detection, this game excels in frustration. Visually though, it does a good job representing the source material, if only they had not blown the budget on just that. Primal Rage, released in mid-1995 to American and European audiences. This late release was only a year short of the PlayStation and the Saturn. With that said, this was a game made to capitalize on the violent gaming genre with such games as Mortal Kombat. By this time, we also had an impressive pseudo 3D fighting game known as Killer Instinct. What this game fails to do is combine these two ideas, and what we get is a putrid mess. Confusing movesets, poorly rendered graphics, and a game that is almost completely forgettable. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, released in North America in October of 1992 and around the world in late 1993. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest was developed as a segue into role-playing games, and to those who are unfamiliar with RPGs, it is a decent starting point for new players. If this were a tutorial, then that would be fine, but the reason this made the list is due to the fact that the entire game will hold your hand and follows a very strict and linear path. The difficulty in this game is insulting, and it defies all logic when it comes to steadily ramping up the difficulty, giving said newcomers any kind of challenge. Spider-Man X-Men in Arcade's Revenge was released late 1992 in the United States and mid-1993 in PAL territories, and later that year would see a port released to the Genesis and Mega Drive. Besides the box art, there isn't anything worth praising about this game. You play as Spider-Man and a few members of the X-Men team, navigating through labyrinth-like levels with no indication of where to go. Coupled with piss-poor hit detection and some of the most generic graphics you will ever find on the Super Nintendo, it would amaze me if anyone had ever finished playing. Bram Stoker's Dracula. This game was released alongside with the film in late 1993 on practically every platform available. And I understand that this list has many movie tie-in games, but it's also games like this that give bad movie games the stigma it has. I've always considered this game to be a poor man's alternative to Castlevania. With that being said, if you are able to play Castlevania, then steer clear away from this mess. Everything about this game feels rushed, and the quality definitely shows. And yet again, a title that just did not age well, or for that matter, just did not look good to begin with. And amongst most bad games comes coupled with bad hit detection and very cheap deaths. Home Alone 2. Now these last three games made it here for good reason. All three are titles I had the misfortune of owning as a kid, and considering how most of us played these despite how bad they were. This particular game came out in late 1992 and early 1993 in PAL regions. I received this game along with my brand new Super Nintendo and a copy of Super Mario World. Needless to say, after a few minutes of this game, we were quick to go back to playing Mario for the rest of the holiday. I have personally tried many times to beat this game, and considering the target audience was kids, this should not have been so difficult. The main issue is knowing exactly what to do, with parts of the game being cryptic and often unfair. And this would carry on when it came to knowing what weapon worked on which enemy, which were spewed all over the map. Even for the most veteran player, this game defies all logic and makes for an utterly frustrating experience. The Lion King. Released worldwide during the film's release in 1994, this game was an easy cash grab for Virgin Interactive. Coming hot off the success of Aladdin on the Genesis, there was absolutely no reason why this game should have been as terrible as it is. During the first level, it tricks you. It makes you think you're playing a quality Disney game. You end up killing your first hyena and it's off to stage 2. And this is where the game shows all the shades of the shit rainbow. Imagine playing Gutsman's stage in Mega Man, the Turbo Tunnel in Battletoads, and combining it with the garbage controls and hit detection of another classic Virgin game, Cool Spot. And there you have Level 2 of The Lion King. And for those fortunate enough to survive, the following stages include a forward-running level and many more insanely difficult platforming areas. Batman Forever. Released in all 3 regions mid-1995, Batman Forever is what I consider to be the worst game released on the Super Nintendo. As a beat 'em up, it utilizes the same engine used in Mortal Kombat 2. Why does this matter? Because for starters, it makes movement incredibly awkward, and fighting enemies can sometimes become increasingly frustrating when you go in for an attack. Along with controls that no one in the right mind would ever consider mapping, this game is an ongoing dumpster fire from beginning to end. Considering Batman Returns, which came out a few years prior and was a much better beat 'em up, this game failed to outdo its own predecessor.